No form of religion and or spirituality is going to fill that void inside of you. You know, it's interesting when things like this happen because I had a big conversation with my husband at dinner last night. My son was around and he kind of paid attention in and out, but we had a discussion about a lot of the generalized beliefs and belief systems within large portions of the spiritual community. And they tend to be things that I was taught and was mentored into when I first started exploring my own spirituality many years ago, that I have since found do not in any way resonate with me. There are things like the starseed conversation and the 3D, 5D stuff and past lives and how they do or do not work, reincarnation and so forth. And over time, the last couple years that I've had this platform, I've talked about things that I feel end up being fairly toxic in the spiritual conversations. And we were talking about how that cult-like groupthink is problematic and dangerous at times for people, where you see the things that I have seen the most personally is either falling into thinking exactly what your favorite spiritual content creator or spiritual guru or mentor or whomever has told you that they think, so you follow along because you think surely they must be right. Or actually going into spiritual psychosis because they kind of lose sight of enough groundedness, and it kind of leads them into a place of just really not being physically manifested in reality enough to be able to question things. And when I say question things, please know that I also don't mean in the same way of, you know, conspiracy theory, question everything, do your own research kind of BS, because that goes too far as well. But to be able to, this is what we talk about when we say discernment in the spiritual community. If somebody's telling you something, pay attention to how you react. Pay attention to how your body feels. Pay attention to the emotions that come up with it. Does it create fear? Does it create fear in a way of you trying to hold on to what they're saying so that you can feel more safe and comfortable because you're thinking and feeling the same way as somebody else who you look to, who you look up to, who you value their opinion of? Does it kind of turn you a little bit? Does it make you go, oh, I'm not sure that that fits right with me. I don't know that I believe in that, but so-and-so says that, so it must be the truth and I'm just going to have to follow along. You know, pay attention to how that sits with you when it comes up. And we're seeing kind of like really large amounts of people either going into spiritual psychosis because truly there's something within themselves, in their hearts, in their minds, in their souls, in their spirit, in their person, in their humanness that feels empty and painful and unhealed. Or they're completely flipping the script and either, I have previously seen, going from, you know, deep religious ties, some of the more restricted and constricted religious beliefs, flip all the way over to spirituality instead, because some of those things like the rapture and the 3D, 5D conversation that I've ever heard are kind of the same thing, just in different clothes. The good ones will ascend. That's basically where it comes from. Or now we're seeing all of these people go from where they had been in the spiritual world over to religious faith. And I can't help but wonder, coming from somebody who has spent more of her adult years in some version of a therapeutic practice or another, to learn about my own inner world, to learn about where my traumas have originated from, to learn about why certain things trigger me the way that they do, to learn about how to feel as comfortable as and as loving towards myself as possible. And then also learning through those years of healing to be able to reflect inwardly to see if something is coming up again. We're never done healing. However, we can get to levels of healing where we are much, much more frequently those steady waters, and that we can take notice when something comes up that needs attention again. And we stop judging ourselves to the same degree any longer when that happens. And we can understand, I have something else that needs healed. I have another part of me that's screaming for attention, that needs love, that needs my acceptance, that needs me to hear it, so that I can say, I hear you, I see you, let's pay attention, let's try to work through that. And some days are a whole lot harder than others. Do not let people tell you that they are done healing. It's a fucking lie. Do not let people try to convince you to think the way they think because it's the only right way, or to think that flip-flopping back and forth between spirituality and religion is the way to fill that painful void. And no, this is not about any one particular creator. I do understand that there's drama going on out in the ethers, but like I said, I had this conversation in the house last night that led to some of this type of discussion that I don't personally want anybody, I mean, my platform's not that big on here, but I don't ever want anybody going, well, Lee said this, so it must be truth. It's my truth to me. It's what's made the most sense to me. It's what my guidance and my guides and my intuition and my gut and my whatever you want to call it has led me to believe, because other things didn't sit right with me. But that doesn't mean that I'm right. We don't know until we're all back in source. We don't know till we've left this physical plane. This is the best that I've come up with for my own personal thoughts. What I like is to say, these things don't resonate with me. This is where I've ended up instead. Food for thought. Choose your path. Decide what you want. But there are absolutely creators and gurus and figureheads who want that cult-like groupthink, who need that cult-like groupthink. They need people who are unhealed. And so I just implore you, if you're using your spirituality or your faith or your religion or your practices to fill painful, empty voids inside you, please find other ways to work through that. They should be running adjacent. They should be a part of your life. Again, only in my view, my personal opinion, take it or leave it. But they should be an adjuvant to the things that fire you up, to the things that make you already feel as whole as you can, and then help you find the best purpose you can. Because really our purpose in general is really to kind of like live life and figure out, hopefully, how to love ourselves. It took me until my 40s to like who I was. I gave myself love, but I didn't really sit in a place of like actually truly liking myself. And I tell my kids all the time, please don't wait till your 40s to find that you're worthy of liking the person that you are. And please don't fall into religious or spiritual constrictions that can lead to psychosis because something inside of you broke open largely enough that you filled it with something outside of yourself again.